This morning, as peace talks remain stalled in Iran, President Trump pointing to a positive sign, claiming the 8 female protesters he asked the regime to spare not be executed. And guess what? They were saved. The president says 4 of them will be released, the other 4 given a 4-month sentence, as the White House emphasizes his humanitarian concerns. Our next guest was born and raised in Tehran before coming to America in 2019. Iranian activist Sana Ebrahimi joins us now. Sana, great to see you. First off, on the sparing of these women, your thoughts about are the Iranians going to continue to spare their lives?
Well, let me start by this. No president in the past 47 years, no U.S. president, has cared about the plight of Iranian people more than President Trump. So that's that. On the issue of their execution, no charges were dropped. Their executions have been postponed. That's amazing news. At the same time, we have to remember, these are not the only execution cases. This morning, I woke up to the news of one more person, one more political prisoner getting executed. In the past 2 days, 4 people have been executed. And according to human rights organizations in Iran, more than 53,000 people were arrested after January 8th and January 9th. Now, we have 72 confirmed death sentences. And the Chief Justice of Iran, Mohsen Ejei, have vowed for speedy trials and no leniency, which means death sentences, under the charges of treason, working for Mossad, and waging war against God. So these are the cases that are evading their death.
And I heard you guys have an all-time high of executions that dates back to 1989, over 1,500. That's prior even to the massive protests that you have. What is the attitude on the ground? You still have ways to contact people in Iran. How do they feel about this whole conflict?
It's horrible. Just imagine that an illegitimate terrorist regime has shut down the internet on 90 million people. Now, people barely get to contact their families. Like, they use point of contacts, like some people that have access to maybe Starlink or VPNs that they can contact and follow, like check in on their families. But what we hear is a horrible economical situation. Things are not affordable. Day-to-day life, people struggle. Businesses have been closed. Some people have lost their jobs due to internet shutdown. And these are the facts on the ground. So even if things end today, even if the regime surrenders today, the economical situation is there. Right. And there is going to be a massive disaster for the regime on the ground.
So I was just looking at the Shah's son. He says he traveled to Europe. He says there's a massive disconnect between the reality on the ground in Iran and how this is perceived a war of choice by an American president who didn't think this out. That's not your perception. You think on the ground this is an evil regime that needs to be stopped, that lives to destroy the West.
Yes, it lives to destroy the West, and it lives to destroy Iranians as well. I mean, think about it. They killed tens of thousands of people in 2 days just for protesting for their basic rights. I mean, what kind of legitimate government does that? What kind of legitimate government with a base of support in Iran would shut down the internet to stop the flow of information? So people on the ground, what they think about is that the worst case scenario after these peace talks is the Islamic government in place. Islamic Republic surviving this war would be the absolute worst case scenario for the people. And I personally believe that you cannot really negotiate with savage terrorists because they will never be faithful to their promise. They will never keep their promises. Yep. And they have shown that previously. I mean, with President Biden, President Obama, what did they do?
I hear you. But I guess we're in the situation now where you got to get them in where they have no choice. But we'll see. Maybe it's going to go back to bombing. Sana, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
And I hope people can get your story out.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.